I love pho. All the pho 69s, pho king goods, what the fuzz, and for reals? I don't know what it is with Korean American obsession with pho, but at my home church, people get pho together more religiously than they pray together. Whenever my family and I go out to eat, my mom will dump and dissolve the sauces straight into the soup while I make a pretty little dip on the side. I always order a combo, sneak my tripe into my sister's bowl, and keep the steak and tendon for myself. And after the meal, I would get high on my meaty fingers that now smell like pho forever. Yeah, no, I don't shower. But the best part of the experience is the thinly sliced raw onions smothered in sriracha that make a perfect replacement for kimchi. One morning, I woke up early and went inside the kitchen and caught my mom in action, slurping those scarlet raw onions by themselves. Thank God it was bright outside, because otherwise I would have thought she was a Christian, the Korean equivalent of a zombie. As such, pho became my family's favorite food when we moved to LA from Korea in 2002. My parents don't speak English, or Vietnamese for that matter, but when it comes to enjoying good food, language doesn't matter. But for me, it did matter. In the winter of 2004, my mom, sister, dad, and I went to Canada to extend our visa, where my parents brought me, a sixth grader, as their translator. Ominous. On the first day, we went to see Niagara Falls, and we were full on feeling that tourist spirit, though a little empty on the inside without... The next morning, the embassy. And oh my God, the long lines, the security guards, and the stacks of documents were all intimidating. But what was really unbearable for me was the pressure. How can anyone expect a sixth grader who's only been in America for 3 years to bilingually navigate the technical terms surrounding immigration? The interviewer at the window, frustrated at our failing communication, told us to come back the next day with the proper translator. I retorted, "But we have to catch the plane tomorrow." To which she replied, "You can't go back without this visa." Oh, fuck. That's when it hit me. I hadn't realized that my parents had essentially placed the destiny of my family right at the tip of my young tongue. Get this, without this visa, we will be stranded in Canada or detained until we're deported to Korea with all of our belongings, friends, and livelihoods left in LA. Back at the grungy hotel, my dad lied helplessly in bed while my 5-year-old sister was crying for ramen, a cheap substitute for... I wanted her to shut up, but my mom, with her maternal superpower, trekked in the Toronto snow to find that overpriced ramen. It must have given her a sense of mission in the midst of hopelessness. Thankfully, we did end up finding an adult translator, got the visa, and caught the plane last minute. I remember the beautiful night lights of LA as the plane descended, and the overwhelming sense of homecoming. We called our relative picking us up from the airport to order us pho for takeout. At last, in our good old apartment, the first thing we did was heat up the MSG saturated soup and the cold clump of rice noodles packed in styrofoam bowls. Our first meal back in America, the taste of familiarity. Fast forward to college. I'm fluent in English without losing Korean. But now, my challenge is the language of love. Pho provided an enticing incentive to go out on dates, particularly with one girl who also loved pho. And she had a car to the closest pho restaurant. Oh yeah! College was a complicated time for me, as I had yet to reconcile my same-sex attraction with my then evangelical Christian faith. In the meantime, eating pho together with my gay crush kept me nourished until I eventually came to full terms with myself. Pho is no longer a means to spend time with someone otherwise unapproachable. It is a worthy end, in and of itself, toward which I can walk alongside whoever I choose. Yeah. It might seem ironic that a Vietnamese dish could thus punctuate my journey as a queer Korean American immigrant. But the very fact that a Vietnamese dish, rather than Korean, could fulfill such role speaks to the emergence of new identities activated through the encounters among the diverse communities here in the States. The entangled experiences of many intersect, in this case, in that bowl of pho. But not exactly in the same way my mom used to dump and dissolve everything into one bowl. No. America is not a dissolution of identities into monolithic flavor. It is a conglomerate of individuals infused with what everybody brings to the table. From Korean Americans bonding over pho to Vietnamese restaurants naming themselves after American puns, the enabling of such intersections, to me, is America. My legitimacy here, barely sustained by visas, is as tenuous as a strand of noodle. As proven by my sister, who recently had to move to Korea permanently despite her growing up here all her life. With my parents still living in LA, my family of 4 do not know when the next time all 4 of us will be able to share a meal together. Even so, pho symbolizes my relocated home in America's embrace. Pho is a memory of my forbidden crush before I burst open the doors of my closet. Pho is a hope of a family that eats together. And finally, pho is my soul food away from Seoul. So hit me up if you want to get pho with me. You can have my tripe. Thank you.